All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages, how to build trust without feeling overwhelmed. So if you've broken your wife's trust through maybe something serious like infidelity, or maybe it's pornography, or maybe it's the mosquito cycle or whatever, and you're trying to build it back, it really can feel overwhelming. It can feel like a lot of anxiety. And so today we're going to talk about how you can do it without feeling that sort of burden to, build that trust and like that feeling of defeat when maybe you make a mistake and break a promise or whatever. So my name's Mike Frazier, MD. I'm a psychiatrist and marriage coach, and I help high-achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. So some wins from guys in our Strong Men, Strong Marriages program this week. Guys are, look, if you come into the program, you're going to start feeling great. You're going to be able to manage your thoughts and emotions better. You're going to start to have these better relationship with yourself, with God, with your wife. It's just what happens, and it's just fun to see. So guys that are having more conversations, they're able to create that mental emotional connection, having that fun. Guys are having increased physical intimacy again, getting hugs, kisses, sex, all of that. Guys are breaking old patterns of manipulation and anger, being able to see that, shift it. Super cool. Guys are starting to realize they're making things too much about them, and learning how to kind of separate what their wife does from being able to see, hey, like just because she spends time with a friend doesn't mean she doesn't like to spend time with me. Guys are able to make that distinction now, which is really important. uh, Wives are sending texts about missing their husband while they're away. Guys are getting, again, the more hugs. One guy shared his wife came to watch him at something he was a leader in, and she hadn't been there before, so she came to watch him and support him, and it was just a really fun moment for them. So this stuff's happening, right? And we'd love for that to be happening for you too. Building up my team, we got more people to support you now, which is great. And so for me this week, great date nights, super fun. Just Elizabeth and I are really connected right now, and it's been really nice. um, so there's ups and downs in any marriage, and but the when you learn these skills, right, the down times last less, they're less intense, and the up times are longer. They're more intense as well. They're more intense, right, rather than the bad times being they're less intense. I'm saying this weird, but the bad times aren't as bad, and the good times are better when you have these skills. So what you're trying now, you're trying to earn your wife's trust back, right? Maybe that was, again, infidelity. Maybe that's just you having bad emotional control, losing your temper, that kind of thing. The mosquito cycle, doing nice things, expecting something back, sulking, pulling away when you don't get it. And then feeling bad after, trying to do nice things again. Manipulation, acting in ways that are kind of controlling or not listening to her, right? There's plenty of stuff we do that's wrong that we're trying to overcome. And in the program, what we do is we find those bad habits, replace them with good habits. So when you have these bad habits, they do break trust. And so what a lot of guys will try to do is they'll say, okay, like I'm never doing that again. I'm going to try to do everything right. Okay, I don't mess up. I can't mess up. I can't make a mistake here. Don't make any wrong moves. So they're just kind of in this mindset. I use the analogy of trust being a brick house. And so each brick in that house is a promise that you make and keep. And so guys are like, man, I can't ever break a promise, or else that's going to knock down this whole house. And they start getting really nervous. Okay. And it feels really overwhelming. Like I can never make a mistake. I have to be perfect. If I'm not, I'm going to break trust. So guys walk around feeling really anxious. And what happens when we feel anxious, and this is so a good example is like pornography. If you're saying, I'm never going to watch pornography again, and then you get that temptation, that desire to watch it, you start feeling anxious. If you don't have tools to deal with that anxiety, you're likely to go back and use pornography again because you don't know how to deal with the anxiety. And pornography does reduce your anxiety for a while. So the thing, this like mindset, I've got to be perfect, I got to be perfect, it feels overwhelming because it is, right? And it produces a lot of anxiety. It's not even doable. Okay. The other thing that it does is it makes you kind of a slave to what your wife asks you to do. So if you're in this mindset, like, okay, I got to earn trust back. Everything my wife asks me to do, I got to do it. No matter what it is, no matter how ridiculous it seems, no matter what time of day, no matter how busy I am, I have to do it to earn trust back. Guys will take that mindset. And it seems to make sense, but what happens is it's not really sustainable. And so guys are like, oh, I can do this for a while and I just have to do it because I got to earn trust back, but it can't work long term. So guys will end up over promising, under delivering, and that does break trust. the other thing it can lead to is you saying, okay, well, I've got to do everything that my wife asks every time she asks it. Um, so guys can, keep their commitments to their wife, but then they start kind of like dropping things with work or church or friends, just like make sure that they're doing everything their wife asks at any time. And so then guys can start feeling resentful, okay, and go into that mosquito cycle where, okay, I'm doing these nice things. I want my wife to trust me. And, you know, I'm doing everything right, but she's still not trusting me. I'm not doing stuff with friends. I'm letting stuff go at work. I'm doing this all for her. It's not paying off. So they start getting mad and then they lose their temper or they shut down and you're in that mosquito cycle. Okay. And then you're like, oh, I'm sorry. And then you go back and then you're trapped again. And trust is broken because now you're in that manipulation. And really the problem is if you're trying to make her trust you, you're still kind of caught in that manipulation mindset. She's got to trust me. She's got to trust me. How do I make her trust me? Okay, that produces a lot of anxiety because there's no real answer. But when you focus instead on, okay, how can I be trustworthy? How can I be a man of my word? Now you feel powerful because that's in your control. Okay. So what you need to do instead is this. So first of all, focus on that, right? Being trustworthy versus making her trust you, okay, which you can't control. But you have to also understand that there are two ways that you can keep your word. So one way is to say yes and follow through. That's the one most of us understand. Okay, my wife asked me to, I said I'm going to listen to my wife. I got to listen every time. My wife asked me to take the trash out. I took the trash out. Okay, and that's important. That is one way to earn trust. But there's another way to earn trust, and that way is to say no and not do it. So this is counterintuitive for a lot of guys, but it's the truth. You do earn trust when you say no and you don't follow through. Really, earning trust, being trustworthy is just what you say is what you do. Okay. And so, what it doesn't mean is that you have to say yes to everything and do everything. Remember, saying no and not doing it also builds trust. A lot of times men don't understand this. They forget that this is an option, of saying no and following through on the no builds trust too. Okay. Both of them build trust because you're keeping your word, right? So it's not necessarily doing everything that your wife says, right? It's just saying when I say yes, I do it. And when I say no, it's no. That's strong. It's powerful. It's respected. Your wife might not love it at first, but she'll respect it. She'll be attracted to it. You'll feel strong. Okay. That's what happens. Being liked and being respected, if there's a podcast on that, you can go through it, but this is part of it. Okay. Saying no. So here's why this works. So you start becoming more selective when you're with your yes and more frequent with your no. Okay. And that includes with your wife. Sometimes she might be asking you to do something and you're going to have to say no. Okay. So this is when you start saying phrases like, hey, I can't commit to that right now. Or, hey, listen, I can't listen to you right now, but I can in a little bit. Or I have to think about that before I say yes. Or it's just like, no, I can't do that. So the counterintuitive thing to this is it's realistic. Okay. And it actually helps your wife trust you more than just being a yes man. Oh yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Because what happens then is she's like, is he really going to do it? I'm not sure I can trust that he's going to follow through on it. Yeah, I kind of feel okay. He said yes, but I'm worried he's not going to do it. And so she reminds you, right, and all of that. Instead, if you're able to say, okay, no, I can't do that. Yes, let me do it later. You feel that anxiety drop because now you are being realistic with what you can and can't do. Your wife also feels better because she knows, okay, yeah, sometimes he's going to say no. His word actually means something. It's valuable. Okay. And again, she might be frustrated a little bit with that no at first, but she's going to respect it. Okay? And she's going to say, yeah, he's actually being more trustworthy. He's actually being stronger. So it relieves your anxiety. It relieves her anxiety. It helps you follow through with your commitments. Okay. It also increases your confidence of you saying, yeah, like I've got my own life. I want to serve my wife. I want to do things for her, but sometimes I can't. That's real life. Okay. And if you can live that, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel stronger. Your marriage is going to be better. Okay. So, in summary, rebuilding trust, it's a step-by-step process. It's that building that house of trust. So it's making and keeping promises. Those are those bricks to build the house of trust. You being a trustworthy person. Okay. So one way to build trust is by saying yes and following through on things. But don't forget, the other way you can build trust is by saying no. Okay? Because both ways you're keeping your word. When you keep your word, you put down a brick of trust. Okay? That's what happens. So be more selective with your yes, be more liberal with your no. And that's how you build trust without feeling overwhelmed and feeling anxious all the time, like, oh, I've got to do everything right. I got to do everything my wife says. I can't make a mistake. Sometimes you're going to say, no, I can't do that. Okay. So you start feeling stronger, you start feeling more confident, and you're building that trust up. So to do this, though, it requires some internal strength, right? It requires you being able to manage your own sense of self-worth. It requires you being able to have the courage to say no, to be able to manage your anxiety and fear around that, step into courage. Okay. But you can do it. And we can help you do it. Okay. At Strong Men, Strong Marriages. So if you want to come and help us, it also requires communication skills, you being able to say the words and phrases and express yourself in a way that's effective. Okay. So we teach you all of that in Strong Men, Strong Marriages, how to rebuild trust, how to get great at communication, how to generate that mental, emotional, and sexual intimacy that you want. So come join us at strongmenstrongmarriages.com, fill out an application, we'll review it and give you the best next steps. Okay. So come join us at strongmenstrongmarriages.com. Stay strong, men, and we will see you next episode.